Hello and welcome back to my solo RPG journal. We're continuing on with the story of Gabriel, the alchemist who has moved to the city of Flyridge. He has just come into the city, had just met with with a representative of the Merchants Guild and found out what he needs to do to set up a shop in the city, and has gone back to the tavern he's staying at and tried to find out what's happening in the city. And a couple of things have happened, or a couple of things are about to happen. So we've ascertained a few things about what rumors he's found out about. A noble who got drunk and discovered a sleeping monster. The king decreed some strange new laws. We're still going to have to work out a few things about that, because it's not going to be the king, it'll be the leader of the city. A fat merchant was sleeping and discovered a suppressed truth about the ruling kingdom. People are disappearing. So that's going to be interesting. Maybe we don't actually hear what that is, but once we know more about the political situation in the city, that will all make a lot more sense. We learned some things about the tavern we're staying at, including a couple of events that sort of happen at the time. So at one point during the night, we're going to have a drinking contest with some dwarves. Some people are going to be very, very, very impressed by the minstrel singing The Lady and the Fairy Dragon. And a group of young ladies will come in sometime during the night to have ladies' night, keeping themselves having a good time. But there are many drunk men who think themselves worthy suitors and try to gain their attention, which I'm sure in a town full of adventurers could get rowdy. So, we also learned a little bit about the Merchants Guild, and our friend Traran, the cold merchant that wasn't particularly interested in helping us, but he did it because it was his job. Micah Dreamfill, who was in the caravan that brought us to the city, and is intent on using us as some kind of pawn if it in whatever games she's playing, has gone, oh, okay, well, I'm not too happy with this Traran guy, so let's turn Gabriel away from that. So I think that the first thing that's happening is we're going to play through this drinking competition. So to begin with, we're going to we're in the tavern. We're talking to different people. We've talked to the bartender, Gilcorn, the owner of the tavern. We've talked to a few other people about what's going on, what's happening in the city, what I'm doing with the Merchants Guild, the fact that I'm trying to set up a thing, trying to learn little bits and pieces about some of the people that I need to look up. So I need to find one of Essence, Keljon, or Carden Dreamfall, and I need to get them to help me, or get them to provide evidence that to the Merchants Guild that I am actually a capable alchemist, so they'll give me a license. I did find some people that were happy to tell me about Essence and Carden, but no one knew anything about Keljon? I'm not sure. We haven't actually ascertained what it was that we learnt about them, so we might do that later. However, something that's going to happen is we're going to find a group of 3 dwarves sitting around at a table, being very, very rowdy, and they're going to take a look at me, take a look at Gabriel, sort of bring him into the conversation, and human man, not hugely tall, but not small, and go, all right, we'll tell you some information if you join us. And egging each other along. You can't drink more than us. And they're starting to order large stouts. And I think trying to get in and learn things about the town, Gabriel just jumps straight in there and goes, "Yep, I can hold my own. I can hold my own drink." And starts drinking with these dwarves. So we're going to need to set up a table. We're going to need to know round, success, fail, dex, whiz, con. So dwarf 1. How do we do this? Actually, let's just create a quick table. Dwarf 1, Dwarf 2, and Dwarf 3. And Gabriel. So everyone gets involved. Let's just okay, so we're drinking some hearty stouts. Now these NPC warrior. Now these dwarves are non-player characters. NPC class +3. Okay, so we're looking at. So all of these dwarves have a fortitude save of +7. Now we care about their dex, their whiz, and their con. Let's up this 16, making their fortitude save +8. We'll go round 1. Okay. So we've got these 3 dwarves. They're probably part of the town guard or adventurers. We'll say they're part of the town guard. And they've been around for a while. They're quite hardy, and they're getting into this drinking competition. So they tell Gabriel they're not never seen him around. Don't know who he is, and he's going, all right, well, look, if you're going to get into this drinking competition, then I'll if I can do better than you, you'll help me out and you'll tell us what you know. And they laugh about it and go, yeah, whatever. We'll see. Come on, just get him a stein. Get him a pint. I think that they're drinking pints. And let's see, do I have here we go. I have some dice. So they get him a pint of this big, black, strong-looking ale. Because it's a pint, I'm going to raise the DC to 13. And we're going to they're going to throw on back, going, yeah. If you can keep up, we don't expect you to drink us under, but we can if you can keep up, we'll let you know. We'll talk to you. And all three dwarves, 1, 2, 1, down a pint. So I've rolled 3 dice. I've rolled 4 d20s. Gabriel's being a different colour, and things don't go so well for many of the dwarves. One of them passes. So number 2 passes. Number 1 succeeds. They all succeed. All the dwarves succeed. However, Gabriel, where is your fort save? Gabriel's fort save is actually quite good. The wonders of multiclassing. And he, despite the incredibly low roll, succeeds. No problems. And they immediately get another pint and jump straight into it. Now, the way drinking works in Dungeons & Dragons, or in 3rd Ed at least, every drink, you roll a fortitude save, a DC determined by the alcohol. We're going with DC 13, a strong pint, and judging from its size, we're just adding 1 to the DC from 12 to make it 13. And every drink you have in an hour decreases your fort save, doubling the thing. So, first drink, no penalty. Second drink, -1. Third drink, -2. Fourth drink, -4. So, everyone's rolling at -1. So the lowest roll on the dwarf was dwarf number 1. 8 plus 7 is 15, so that's a success. I got a natural 20 and a 19 for the other 2. And Gabriel, tossing back his 3rd drink, he's not taking it as well as the dwarves. The dwarves are drinking it, just don't care. They don't care at all. But he's keeping up with them. He goes straight back in for his 3rd drink. Okay, so I'm going to actually delete some of this some of these columns. Basically with a wisdom of 9. Everyone, basically the dwarves have to fail 5 to 9 times to lose consciousness. So we're just at our third roll. The dwarves now have a +6 as opposed to a +8. And again, with the 19s and the 20s, but dwarf number 1, he's not doing so great. He's still pushing back. But he's doing about the same as Gabriel, just beating the DC. And I think at this point they're looking at Gabriel going, well, he's doing all right. Dwarf 2 and Dwarf 3, they're pros at this. They're probably a little bit older and much more experienced in the ways of drinking huge, vast amounts. And Dwarf number 1, not so great. However, Gabriel's keeping up with him. So they're actually quite impressed. But they're not going to stop. Okay, so I rolled the DC for Gabriel. So who cares? He succeeds. However, we have our first failure for one of the dwarves. It's not an F. Oh, hang on. Do we have 2? We have 2 failures. So that's interesting. We're going to have to roll 1d2 for each of the dwarves. Ooh. Okay, so we'll go... we put this whiz column back in. When this number gets to -9 for the dwarves, they lose consciousness. So this time, the fourth drink, they slam it back, but number 1 and number 2 don't have they have a little bit of difficulty getting it down, and one of them gets up to order a wave at the bartender and is going, whoa, not quite as nimble on his feet and starting to slur. Gabriel, however, doesn't notice. So, round 5, -8. So this time for the dwarves, it is their straight modifier. Gabriel, with the power of multiclassing in 3rd ed, actually still has a bonus. Gabriel succeeds. And only one of the dwarves does. So the 2 younger of the dwarves, I think we've got 3 dwarves. 1 younger, one sort of a bit older than him, and then one that's quite a bit older. And the one that, with their age, they've got more and more experience drinking, and the old man, he doesn't care. And he's looking at Gabriel, looking at the 2 dwarves going, Jesus Christ, what are you doing being out drunk by a human? Gabriel doesn't even mind. Okay, so I think the older dwarf is going, well, my two younger friends, they can sit this out. But you're alright for a human. Have another drink. And at this point, thoroughly trounces Gabriel. Gabriel finally succumbs to the incredibly strong alcohol and the amount that he has drunk. Whereas our older dwarf gentleman, rolls a natural 20. He's got a, what is it? -1, -2, -4, -8, -16. At which point they both fail, actually, even with the natural 20. Yeah, they go for a sixth drink without stopping. And at this point, they all fail. -16 on the bloody roll. The other two are sitting it out. They've had 2 failures and are quite drunk at this point. Gabriel. So this man's got a -2. They can't succeed any further rolls. So I think the old man is impressed. We rolled higher for Gabe. Oh no. If it's 1d2 and you're rolling a d6, a 3 is a -1. But I think that the old man recognizes Gabriel's ability to drink. Very, very impressed with him. The fact that he was able to keep up, and quite happily tells him some of the stuff that we've already gone through. Probably tells him a bit about the Merchants Guild, and about the pub. And there we have a drinking competition. So, a drinking competition with 3 dwarves. The younger 2 bow out after 5 rounds. But the older of the trio happily has a 6th, because a 6th drink with Gabriel, impressed by his constitution. The dwarves actually have a much higher constitution than Gabriel, but good old saves and multi-classing. Having a few levels on them. Happily has a 6th drink with Gabriel, impressed by his constitution. So, Gabriel learns of the tavern, and some things about the merchant guild, which we've already resolved, rolling rumours. So then, some point, Gabriel's having a good time with his new dwarven friends. We might need to give the old man create an actual character. Let's do that right now, actually. NPC creator. We'll go standard uninept wizard, much stronger than the party. We've already established that the guy's a guard. And I actually did his strength manually because I needed stats. That's interesting. Execute deprivation. What kind of execute? To do the deprivation? Or to kill the deprivation? And inform progress. And he needs a name. Hornum. Is he... Yeah, we've gone with him being male. We've just made that assumption, so we're just going with that. Hornum. The trio of dwarves. And then at some point, after our little drinking game, Hornum shows off his brand new stein that he's won. Everyone's very, very impressed. That the other two dwarves are annoyed. They've all pitched in to buy this fancy gem-encrusted stein, and they're disappointed that they weren't the ones to win it. Gabriel was a little bit surprised. They never really offered it to him, but the other two dwarves were annoyed that being the losers that they let a human in on the human who didn't even chip into the pool enter the competition. They get over it though. They're reasonably friendly. Merchants, I spell. And then at some point during the night, a number of I think that most of the crowd in the bar tonight are raucously drunk men, and at some point, a few women, a large group of women. How many women come in? I rolled low on that dice, so we're going to roll another one. 7 women come into the bar. A couple of them quite rowdily getting round for themselves. We start to see some interest from the more drunken male patrons, going, "Oh, who are this lot?" So I guess the question is, who are these people? Are the women well known in town? And we'll say 50-50. They're not well known in town. I should probably start titling drinking competition, ladies' night. What else have we? Ladies' night. That's there. I'll deal with those later. Deal with the older sessions later. So it's ladies' night. So a group of ladies, a group of 7 women enter the bar and start drinking by themselves. So the difficulty is going to be the women. There's no standout members that everyone just goes, whoa, that's such and such. They just go, some women not being any here, and some of the men going, hey, maybe I'll try my luck. And so they're approaching these women, and how do they respond? I need a good way of asking questions with multiple responses on the fly, as opposed to yes/no questions. Respond. Actually, let's just small chance. Violently. I'll just do it this way. Violently. Violently is spelled correctly. Do the women laugh it off? Ask question. Do the laugh it off? Yeah, they try and laugh it off. So I guess the question is, do any of the men get particularly embarrassed? And I reckon this is actually pretty likely. Yes. I don't think Gabriel would interact with them. I think that he sees the fact that he probably sees some of the suitors. He's wandering around trying to talk to people, but realizes that they're in for a private party, just trying to have a good time by themselves, and leaves them alone. Doesn't feel like trying his luck, given that nobody knows him in town, and how badly that could go and is going for some of the other patrons. Getting particularly embarrassed. Do they react? Sorry, how do the embarrassed men react? We've got violent reactions. We've got I'm going to hold hold a grudge. Do they react badly? So we're going to say this is also likely. They do react badly, and I'll roll a die. and we'll say 1, 2, they react violently. 3, 4, 5, 6 is they hold grudges, so they go and find out who they are. And 3, 4 is they're going to try and embarrass the women tonight. I hit my other die, and I don't know which one I rolled. 6. Okay, they're going to... so one of the men is going to... let's just... We've asked a bunch of these questions. We'll just join them up. So, the women are not well known in town. They don't respond violently to the advances of the men. They try and laugh it off. One of the men, or a few of the men, get embarrassed, but one in particular, you can see he's taking it badly, and he's going to try and he's going to remember it, and he's going around trying to work out. He's a bit drunk, I think, and he's going to go around trying to work out who they are. So at some point he's going to end up talking to Gabriel. And so the question is, especially with Gabriel being a bit on the drunk side, with his -1 to wisdom and -1 to dexterity. The question is, does Gabriel notice what's going on? So, what's the skill called in third ed? It's not insight. Sense motive, which I am not trained in. Now this guy's pretty drunk. In fact, we'll do an opposed roll. This guy's also pretty drunk, so we'll just give him a -2 to his roll. And he is trying to deceive everyone, making sure that people don't realize that is he though? I don't think he even is. I think it's just a low DC roll. So Gabriel does notice that this guy is going to hold a grudge. But what's Gabriel going to do? I think Gabriel's going to mention it to his dwarf buddies. And he's now made friendly with a couple of people on the watch. So they're going to probably tell him that he's had enough. So we're going to see this guy. This guy's going to come up to Gabriel, try to talk to him about these women who have embarrassed him. Oh, how dare they? Who are they? I need to find out who they are, and they'll regret this, kind of thing. And Gabriel's going, I don't know. I've only just come to town, and brings it to the attention of his dwarf friend, Hornum. This dwarf that's taking care of these two very, very drunk younger dwarves. He's going to get up from the table and go, right, mate, I think you've had enough to drink. Rid the city, watch, it's time for you to leave. and he's going to straight up kick this guy out. And at that point, I think the table of women probably noticed that he's probably going to be a bit surly about it, and have to be physically removed by our new dwarven friend. So we'll roll an opposed check for that. Which does not go well. Raw numbers 13 and 4, 13 for the dwarf. So Hornum picks this guy up and just walks him out, and throws him into the street, saying he's had too much to drink and he needs to walk it off. Not be harassing anyone in the bar. Dusts off his hands and walks back in. Cries of cheers from the table of women as they continue, as they get themselves another round. And I think that's what was the other thing? We need to create. I've hidden my gather information rolls. We need to create. Wolfgang. We also have spent some time speaking to Wolfgang. Probably explain the goings on to Wolfgang and what's his name, Gilcorm. What happened with their dwarven friend and the unsavory youth. Let's just make sure there aren't any other. Are there any other? That's not what I wanted. Ask, are there any other issues? We're getting to be unlikely. No. So there aren't any other issues with our with the party, and there probably aren't any other issues with the night. So let's write that up quickly. A number of the drunker patrons decide to try their luck with the women who seem to be having a private party. Keeping to themselves, as they keep to themselves. They laugh off any attempt to engage with them, and embarrass a few of the younger drunks. One particularly surly lout tried to get Gabriel to tell him what he knew of the girls. Gabriel brought it to Hornum's attention, and the lad was thrown out. And there we have a reasonably eventful evening. At this point, I think that Gabriel's going to turn in and call it a night. So at this point, we'll take another break and come back in another video to see how Gabriel spends his second day in Flyer Ridge. Have a good one. See you next time.